Ladies and gentlemen, just like a rash that you just can't get rid of, It's Showtime is back this week. As always, I'm your host, the Matt Weinberg. Sitting across the computer screen from me is Casey, Mr. Showtime Martin. Showtime, how the heck are you today?
Matt, man, I am doing amazing. I've got people calling me over and over again, asking for Mr. Showtime to come see them, to come scout them. They want to be on the show. They want to be with Mr. Showtime. I don't know why, but everybody wants to be Mr. Showtime. Everybody wants to learn from the man. Well, you know what? It's a joyous day for me, as always. Got a lot of things in the funnel, a lot of stuff coming up for Riot Pro Wrestling as well. Man, I can't do any better than I already am.
Abundance is out there. Life is filled with abundance. My day was going pretty good. I hung out today, played a little Pokemon. You know, it was good. And then I thought I got transported to Austria for a couple seconds because I actually ran into your Intercontinental champion Gunther at Publix getting his meal prep on for the week. That was pretty cool. I said, "What's up? I'm a fan." He said, "Hey, I'm a fan." No, I'm just kidding. He had no idea who it was. No. And honestly, I went in the Publix and I had to get out of Publix because I was not in the right mindset to be in a food store, and I wanted all the snacks.
I'm a Gunther fan. That's my favorite snack. So if you guys want to send Mr. Showtime a present, give me Gushers. Don't ask questions. I just love them.
Can I ask one question?
Sure, go ahead.
Are you 5?
I mean, most of the time, I would say I'm more of an 8-year-old in a sitting when I'm a kid, but close enough.
All right, respectable.
They're amazing.
Respectable. My favorite snack is probably Oreos.
And you talk about
I literally bought a. Hey, it's Milk's favorite cookie. You calm down there. It is Milk's favorite cookie. Yeah. So not much going on this week in terms of wrestling. We did have NXT Deadline this weekend, which is nice. So we can talk about that. But not much news going on this week because WWE seems like they're just gearing up for Royal Rumble. So we're just getting long-term storytelling for the next 8 weeks or so till we get to Royal Rumble. It seems like, or 6 weeks at this point. But a couple news articles did come out this week. Mainly the interwebs went ablaze with news of Sasha Banks being done with WWE and her actually possibly signing a contract with New Japan. And she will be fighting at Wrestle Kingdom from what we've been hearing. So very, very, very interesting turn of events. Showtime, are you okay? Because I know Sasha is your girl.
I'm not sure how I feel yet, man. I'm really not. I think that it's hard to see Sasha Banks wanting to go somewhere else and wrestle. It's going to be weird seeing her somewhere else. I'm assuming she'll go by Mercedes as well. And I'm not hurt too much because I respect that things happen and at least we're getting her somewhere. But I'm kind of feeling kind of sad that, she don't want to come back to WWE. That's where she belongs.
Yeah, but I give her more respect than that because she's going to now try and do on her own and be the actress and actor that she can be and be able to pursue other things. I think the one thing about NXT and the WWE system is that you can be a lifetime WWE person and never experience anything outside of that. And I think her stepping out of that comfort zone is only going to make her better. I mean, if you look at Drew McIntyre was at the top of the ladder of WWE and fell all the way down and had to go around the world and back to come back to WWE just to get to that level of being on the mountaintop again. So no matter what, it's going to be a learning experience for Sasha Banks. Hopefully this means that Naomi is returning to WWE TV soon. I'm excited to see what she's able to accomplish, but I'm not 100% sold that she's done with WWE. There's too much there with the 4 Horsewomen. There's too much history there with that, and with all the news of possibilities of WWE and New Japan having some sort of partnership, with some stuff that we'll get into next. Actually, it's actually a pretty decent segue. Is that Carl Anderson will now be defending his IWGP something title at Wrestle Kingdom while still being employed by WWE. This is the first time in history that an active WWE member will be not only fighting in a direct competitor's main pay-per-view for the year, where their Wrestle Kingdom is basically WrestleMania, but also defending a title of that brand as well. So this is the first time that is ever going to happen. And we have that. We have Shinsuke Nakamura, Great Muta, stuff like that. So we could potentially have Sasha Banks, doing something along the line, but it being a bigger story just to say, hey, she's done with WWE. Let all the fanboys and everybody talk about it for a couple weeks. So do you think that there's something bigger to this story, or do you think that Sasha's just done?
No, I think there's more to it. I think for her, the right money amount is what I'm hearing from a lot of people in the back that, know a little bit about what's going on is the issue. So when you look at what, Sasha's getting paid compared to where Charlotte is in that, I'm hearing that's a big gap in between. And I feel like the right dollar amount will move her back into WWE. But if she's not going to get the money, then she's going to go travel to other places because she'll make the money up elsewhere. AEW is another great example of Saraya saying she has a special guest coming up. And, I don't think it's going to be Sasha, but at the same time, that's another big payday. She could become Brock Lesnar. Go to AEW, TK pays the money. She can get $1 million for a couple of visits, and a couple of, shows. There she is again, plus Disney money. You can never go wrong with Disney money.
No, but I don't think that happens that way. I don't think she's going to get that type of money from, New Japan. She could possibly get some type of money like that from AEW, but if it's a money thing, that's stupid. I would not put Sasha in the same category as Charlotte. Charlotte is to me, Charlotte is the best female superstar or female wrestler on the planet right now. I don't think anyone beats her. And I don't think Sasha is greatest right now. She could be top tier or a tier above that, but she is not the top of the mountain.
And you also got Becky as well. Becky's up there too. I think Becky actually might be the highest paid. I don't know that for sure, but I know they are both way higher than what Sasha is. So I think that it does play a big role into it. And I think at some point Triple H will spend the money, probably more around the Royal Rumble. But at this point, we can see from Carl Anderson that Triple H doesn't really care if he has some people go to other places. And this isn't the first time WWE's done that. We've done MLW a couple of times. They've done some other stuff. But this is a big one because it's Wrestle Kingdom. That's WrestleMania for them, as you said.
They have a partnership with MLW.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this turns out. But we'll put a nice little bow on all that Wrestle Kingdom talk, I guess, after Wrestle Kingdom. So, speaking as talent is going away, there was an article that was posted that apparently Lesnar had retired during 2020. There was no plans to bring him back after that. His fight with Roman at WrestleMania was going to be his last match. So it's funny that he was brought back, has since unretired, And now apparently going forward, this WrestleMania is apparently going to be his last match. And they're building, and the rumor is that it's going to be a huge buildup. So what do you think about the possibility of a WWE without Brock Lesnar, a wrestling without Brock Lesnar, and what type of legacy does Brock Lesnar leave behind?
I'll start with the legacy first. I think that, man, obviously, Hall of Fame, it's tough to be a Hall of Famer because almost everybody is in at some point. So that's not as great as like an NBA or NFL. But in this case, he's the first ballot Hall of Famer for sure. I think that he leaves an amazing legacy. That he's really shown how you can go from wrestling, and everybody always says wrestlers aren't as tough, go into the UFC, win at the UFC, come back to wrestling, and still be legit. And nobody questions him about a fake punch or he's just script stuff that he's doing. So I think legacy-wise, he's one of the biggest draws that WWE has ever had. Now, there are a few other ones out there, don't get me wrong. There's some great ones. But I'm saying, when you talk about the draws, you talk about the Undertakers, the Ric Flairs, the Hulk Hogans, all of those, the Macho Mans, you've got to put Brock Lesnar up there for a draw because the man can come back and he can be gone for 2 years, come back, and you're going to have people really wanting to be there and see him. As far as retiring wise, I just don't see it. I feel like he's one of those people that he still has another 5 or 6 years in him. So I think what we'll see is that Saudi money come back around at some point and have him come back around and want to do a few more things at that point. But yeah, man, Lesnar, it's been awesome to see him. I don't know how it looks without Lesnar, but I think that there's very few people who do enough in their career that when they decide, I want to walk away, you got to respect that. And I think with Lesnar, you have to respect that. If he wants to walk away or whenever he does, there is nothing else that Lesnar needs to prove. There's nothing else he needs to do, nothing else he needs to gain. I don't care if he goes out on his back or not. I think that he's earned the right to do whatever he wants to do. And when it's time to go quit, man, I'm just happy that I was alive and able to see somebody as special as Lesnar in the ring.
Yeah, no one is ever going to completely change combat sports like Lesnar has. I mean, walked on to Minnesota Vikings, got a roster spot, left that, became a wrestler, into WWE, left wrestling, became highly successful in the UFC as their heavyweight champion of the world. Overcame diverticulitis multiple times, had I think at one time had like 3/4 of all of his intestines removed from his body to fight that, and then came back to win the UFC heavyweight title again, as well as WWE Universal titles multiple times after that again. So we'll never see anyone like Brock Lesnar again. I think it's funny that he retired and then came back. So hopefully he gets something done. But it's funny where they're planning a big WrestleMania 39 for him, and it was leaked this week that Stephanie McMahon actually signed a deal with Bill Goldberg to have Goldberg come back for, I think, 5 matches, 3 of which are supposed to be with new talent to help bring them up. But all of these matches will be WrestleMania or Saudi Arabia. So with that being said, you could have Lesnar versus Goldberg one more time at Saudi Arabia or WrestleMania, something like that, just to be a final nail in the coffin, if you will, for that whole entire rivalry. But it's very interesting to see that after all the stuff that happened with Goldberg, that Stephanie would be willing to bring him back like that. So very different ends of the spectrum. What do you think about 5 more matches of Goldberg?
I don't want to see 5 more matches of Goldberg. I don't. I mean, I love Goldberg. I love Goldberg. I loved when he came to WCW. I loved his, some time in WWE as well. I think he was a great character. I think he's done what he needs to do in the business as well, too. I mean, there's a few little shaky parts in there. But other than that, I think Goldberg's done all he can. Nowadays, the way wrestling works, a person who can only make a 5-minute match just isn't special anymore because there's so many guys who can go now, so many women who can go now. So when you start looking at a person who can only do a 5 to 7 minute match, I just don't see the need for him. I know the Saudi prince loves him, so he's going to be there because of Saudi, and he's making his money. And by all means, Goldberg, make your money. But I just don't know if there's a place for him in the WWE today that makes a lot of sense for him. I think that he's had his time. He's done well in his time, but I could do without seeing it. I think Goldberg's another guy that he's done all he could do in his career. I don't know what else he needs to do, and I'm nervous that he's going to start destroying his career if he has any bad matches. Like, he left in a great match with Lesnar as well. He's had a few, the Undertaker one was pretty terrible. But, he kind of came back from that. I think at some point, you got to not want to be Brett Favre and continue to come back and look worse as you go. Leave a legacy where you leave on a high note and it's over. And that's what I think Goldberg should do. But by all means, get your money, my man. What do you feel about it? How do you feel about Goldberg?
I have no feelings.
He was cool back in the day, man. Like, it just doesn't, his character just doesn't resonate with the world today. Like, I think he works for us because we've seen him and we know that. But I don't see any younger kids, or my kids don't say, "Oh my God, Dad, it's Goldberg." They just see him and make 5 to 7 man matches. He's basically Roman before Roman was Roman, and now Roman's way surpassed him.
Yeah, that makes sense. Someone that could be potentially the next Goldberg or next Roman is Von Wagner. As the NXT man yourself, did you know that Von Wagner was pitched for a main roster spot? And what do you think that would look like?
So he was on main event. I did know that much, and I knew he was up and down a couple of times as well. Here's what I'll say about Von. He's came a long way, and I have a ton of respect for him. Because I've been in NXT, I'm at NXT all the time, and he's been booed out the building almost every time he stepped foot in there because nobody liked him. To me, he looks like a younger Sinbad. Like, he should be on a movie, like the next Sinbad or something. He has the look. He's strong as hell because I've never seen somebody throw a man that far into a crowd. But now I'm starting to finally see that character come out of him a little bit. And that's what I'm missing from him. If he can figure out a character and figure out how to make a good story in the ring, he has everything else, all the other tools to make it work. So I think that if we can continue to see him talk a little bit more, see him do a little bit more, get a way better manager as well, if he's not going to talk, I think he can do pretty well on the main roster because he's a great size. Like, that dude's big. Like, in person, he's a huge dude. And so he's going to look great against a Drew McIntyre, against a Sheamus, a Roman, that kind of stuff. He's going to look the part with everybody else as well. But he's still very green. So he's got a little bit of work to do in the ring. But I think he can get there. And I'm starting to see a little bit more out of him. So I would still say I think he needs about 6 more months personally to me. But put him with the right person or maybe make him a tag, I think he can do very well.
Yeah, I don't have too much experience watching Vaughn like that, so I will rely on you as the expert for that. But more about NXT, since NXT UK is over and done with, looks like Trent Seven is moving over to AEW. That's some great news for AEW. They get another great person, and looks like Tony Khan is banning Dustin Rhodes from a Hall of Fame event in LA. You actually added that into the queue. So what is this about? Because I don't know.
Yeah, so Tony has cracked down on everybody after the CM Punk stuff and what's been going on, and the fact that Triple H hasn't really said nice things about him too. So he's kind of on his feelings right now. So the word on the street was that he gave the okay for Dustin Rhodes to come in as Gold Dust for the Hall of Fame. He had already told them yes. He already had it all cleared. And then he just recently, last week or so, told him no. He's banning anything to do with WWE, although before he was really, for it. I think right now he's in a spot where people are making fun of him. They're not really respecting him. The workers aren't respecting him as much. He has a crazy locker room. There's a lot of things that have been told now, and obviously I know people in their locker room, There's a lot of things been told about the locker room as well that I won't get into because I haven't personally seen it. But if you look at like the Conans of the world and stuff, they can give you a little bit more light on that. So I think right now he's just trying to figure out how to tone things down and crack down on stuff. And so for whatever reason, I'm not really sure why Dustin was the one you cracked down on. Like you could crack down on anybody. I'm not sure why that was a thing that you decided no on. But if you haven't heard, like this year for Royal Rumble, he cracked down again because it was supposed to be that Chris Jericho was supposed to be in the Royal Rumble was the rumors. But WWE wanted Jon Moxley. And they wanted Jon Moxley because they were trying to pull him before his contract's up. And Tony Khan cut that as well. So there's been a few times that Tony Khan, I think, is just getting pissed with WWE. And so now he's saying no to everything.
Yeah, there was that. I heard a different story about Jon Moxley. They wanted him as Dean Ambrose, and that's when they said no. You has to be Jon Moxley, and he has to be a representative of AEW. They weren't going to let him go as Dean Ambrose and forget the fact that he's with a different company. So, I mean that. Yeah, I mean, I would not have brought him back as Dean Ambrose. I would have brought him as Jon Moxley, but I would have at least had a stare down between him, Seth, and Roman.
That would have been gold.
Because they did apparently want him to come in for the 10th anniversary of the Shield. But again, they wanted him as Dean Ambrose. And that's just not going to happen in Tony Khan's AEW nowadays. So that seems like it's the news of the week. Like I said, it's a light week in terms of wrestling news. Not too much because everybody's gearing up for Wrestle Kingdom as well as Royal Rumble and the likes. So the big thing that we really have is NXT Deadline. Overall, we have a new concept for a match. The matches were absolutely crazy. This Iron Survivor match. We had one men, one women's match. It starts off with two superstars in the ring, and then it's a 25-minute match. Every 5 minutes until everyone's in there, you get a new person. Highest amount of pinfall victories wins. But if you are pinned, you do have to spend 90 seconds in a penalty box. Great concept. It was an extremely fast-paced match. The women's match I thought was fantastic. The men's match I thought was fantastic. It kept you wanting more and on the edge of your seat. So I will pitch the question to you, Showtime. Was this a success? Would you like to see more of this? How would you like to see them incorporate this again? And what are your overall thoughts on this?
Yeah, man. First, I'll tell you this, and I want everybody to hear me on this as well. I just want to say for NXT, they worked their ass off, okay? The electric in the building, like just the way they started, the way they did what they did in the matches, everything about it was amazing. But I want to spend more time on the women's. The women's in NXT, you guys worked your ass off and made it amazing match to start off with. It started hot, it stayed hot, and I'm very, very impressed from what I've seen, especially when you look at some of these wrestlers who have not been around for a very long time. I thought they all held their own really, really well. I am so excited to see what the future holds for NXT Women's Division. And then just WWE as a whole, because these these girls did a really amazing job on it. The men was also really good. God, I don't know if you know Axiom very well, but I'm not really sure if he's still alive at this moment because the man got thrown all over. He got knocked on his head. He was thrown into the plexiglass. I don't even know how he walked. He barely walked after the match anyway. But they beat the hell out of each other. And I'm always for fighting. So, that was great. I hope we keep seeing this. I hope this is a new thing that we see every year because I think it's going to be awesome for NXT. And it's put NXT on the map. It gives them something great to try out and continue to grow with.
I like it. So, with that being said, we're going to get to a shorter episode this week because, like I said, not much to talk about this week. So, it is time for your Showtime Power 5. Showtime, the floor is yours.
You know, Matt, I love the Showtime Power 5, especially this week. Matt, it's been a great wrestling week, I have to say so myself. There's been a lot of things that have happened this week as well, and last week. So, without further ado, let's go ahead. This is Showtime's Power 5. Guys, so the first one at number 5 goes to Willard, Utah. Got the Ring of Honor Pure Champion. The man finally got some gold around his waist, put on one hell of a match as well for you. Super excited for him. Definitely deserves it. And he hits the Power 5 for the first time, man. By the way, the first time. Willard, Utah on there at number 5. Number 4 comes in with Ricky Stark. Man, so, the thing about Ricky is everybody says that he is like The Rock. He is trying to imitate anybody else. But one thing is for sure. When you go up against MJF on the microphone, you better be ready for him. And guys, I will tell you that Ricky delivered what he needed to deliver. He won the Diamond Ring Battle Royal as well. So shout out to Ricky Starks, definitely making a name for himself. This man came from living in his car to being on the main event for AEW. Really big things for him. Super excited for him. Cannot wait to see what's next. Number 3 is going to go to Athena. Athena getting the Women's Championship of Ring of Honor. First of all, her and Mercedes put on a hell of a match as well. But, Matt, I don't know if you've seen Athena lately, but, man, she is killing women in the match. I don't know who pissed her off. I hope that I never piss her off because she is throwing the hardest bows and drop kicks and kicks I've ever seen in my life. So I don't want to ever be in that spot. But Athena definitely getting number 3 for us. Number 2, this one's a big one too. Lots of Ring of Honor because obviously we just got done with pay-per-view. This one goes back to Claudio as well, the Ring of Honor champion. And the reason why he's number 2 is because the man had a person tap out. None other than the legend Chris Jericho tap out by spinning him around in circles. I don't think I've ever in my life seen somebody tap out for that. So that in itself is just amazing. The man is literally, I don't know why we haven't made him Superman because he literally doesn't even need the whole suit. He doesn't need the fake abs and stuff that look like
he was the Swiss Superman at one point.
This is true. This is very true. I really hope he comes back to WWE. I know you might love AEW, but I would love him back in WWE. That's a whole nother thing. But Claudio, man, put on a hell of a match again with the legend Chris Jericho. Can never go wrong. That ended way unexpected for me as well. So awesome for him as well. And number 1 goes to the New Day. The New Day is the second team ever to be Triple Crown Tag Team Champions. Raw, SmackDown, and now NXT. But there's one more thing, Matt. There's one more thing to it. And I'll get to who the other one is. There's one more thing to this. When you look at this, Kofi Kingston becomes the most winningest tag team member ever in WWE as well. That is insane. So shout out to Kofi for that. You guys, the New Day, just shout out to New Day as all. Like, I love having them in. The energy was there. They went through the crowd to celebrate and all that kind of stuff. Man, it was amazing. You could tell they were happy to be there. And then, guys, you got to give a lot of love and respect to Pretty Deadly as well. Put on an awesome match with them as well. So that is Showtime's Power 5. And then for you, Mr. Matt Weinberg, the other team to do that was the Street Profits.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking the Usos for some reason.
I had to look it up. I didn't know either. Somebody told me.
That definitely makes sense. So Kofi Kingston becomes a 15-time tag team champion and actually took that title of most winningest from none other than Booker T.
Which is tough. I know Booker T was not happy. He didn't look happy when they won just for that, but, Booker's all good spirits. Hopefully Booker comes back and beats Waller up at some point. But, yeah, it was awesome, man. It was great to be there. It was a good time. But also, when you hit history, I mean, that is the best part of it. And being Kofi, such an amazing person outside of, wrestling as well. Dude, I love this dude. Like, he's been awesome, man. So if anybody deserves it, he definitely does deserve it.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they do with the New Day as the tag team title holders down at NXT. But for now, they are your WWENXT World Tag Team Champions.
That was it, man. It was an awesome time.
I had to do one for Big E. I had to do one. I had to do it.
Big E was very missed, man. I was expecting Big E to be there. He might have been in the back, but I have heard that he's been at the Performance Center here and there as well. So it was really sad not to see Big E. That would have just capped it off. Shout out to my Hawkeye brother. I love that man.
He'll be back. We all know it. So, ladies and gentlemen, like I said earlier, it is a short episode, not too much going on. And this is all the time that we had for this week to really kind of get something together. We're both extremely busy right now. Showtime's phone keeps on blowing up. They want him on one side of Florida one weekend, the next day on the other side of Florida, going up to Georgia for a little bit, going all over the place. He was in Texas last week. He's in North Carolina. He's coming to a city near you
soon.
So we're all over the place. You guys put us together just like Gunther put Walter down because of his meal prep and exercise and diet. We're going to meal prep, exercise, and diet. We're going to come back next week stronger, leaner, and maybe with an Intercontinental Championship belt around our belt or around our waist. Who knows? Okay. But other than that, I checked my watch. You already know. It's showtime. As always, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, find us on all social medias at It's Showtime Wrestling on your favorite podcasting sites, however you want to listen to, iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, TuneIn, Pandora, Deezer. They're all there. Apple Podcasts. I didn't save that one, I believe. But as well as we got TikTok, we got Instagram, we got Facebook, we got Twitter, we got everything you could ever ask for. So why are you not following us? Go tell your friends. Go tell your families. Go tell the jabroni next door that borrowed your lawnmower and now you got to go whoop his candy ass. So y'all have a great night. Y'all have a great week. Showtime. It's a pleasure. As always.
It's showtime.
Just remember to, hold on though, it might be showtime, but just remember to be you. You gotta be you.
Be me? Or be
just be you. No, just you be you. You be you, because there ain't nobody that's gonna be you better than you. So
that's
be
true.
you.
And if you be you, they'll adjust.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to end this episode with this little fact. I've been talking to Showtime we've been recording for about 35 minutes at this point. We were talking for about 30 more minutes before that. So let's put it this way. Over an hour, I have been talking to this man. Had no idea that there was more to that shirt than the BU. All right, y'all have a great week.
Peace.